everybody. Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Ramon with smarthustle.com, and we're excited to have you here for today's webinar brought to you by the amazing company, Bill.com. Today, we're going to talk about one tenet, one pillar of success of growing and scaling your business. And one of those things is the power of partnerships. As business owners who are trying to scale and grow our businesses, we have ourselves as leaders. We have our employees, our team that we have to work with. We have our customers. Then there's this other segment that I'm going to talk about with Josh in 10 seconds here, all about partnerships, how we can kind of work with others to grow our business and take us to the next level. Josh, how are you? Senior Vice President of Partnerships at Bill.com. How are things in your world on this fine, can you believe it's Tuesday already? The year's almost over, Josh. How are you?
It's almost over. I'm doing great, Ramon. But yeah, I still feel like there's a lot of the year left. But yeah, it's great to be with you. And looking forward to our chat this morning.
Absolutely. As you may know, I live in the New York area. Today, I'm in San Diego. What about yourself, Josh? Where are you hailing from today?
Today, I'm in the beautiful Bay Area, which is probably not as beautiful as San Diego, which is just amazing. But it's beautiful. I was actually in your old neck of the wood, New York, a couple weeks ago, which is just one of the epic places in our world. And it was actually great to see so much energy back on the streets in New York. It was my first time back in a long time, and awesome. It gave me a lot of uplift in my own spirits just seeing that city bounce.
Love that. Love that. Why don't you spend, 3-4 minutes, Josh, giving us a high level view about yourself, your role. You don't have to start like where you were born as a child and things like that. If you want to go back far, you can. But more importantly, what's your role at Bill.com? How are you helping Bill serve its customers? And then for those who don't know, listen, the world's a big place. Half the people listening could know about Bill.com. The other half, Josh, think they know what Bill.com. Well, two halves make a whole, so I'll just make up another math. And the other half have no clue. So who is Josh? And then give us a little taste to understand what is Bill.com.
Great. Well, I'm probably less interesting than Bill.com, so I'll keep me short. But I did grow up not too far from actually this building here. I'm lucky enough to lead all the big partnerships and business development activity that we do for Bill.com. And that's really come from probably years of experience, which you can tell from my hairdo, of really helping to build a lot of financial and mobile-based software companies over the last 20 plus years as both an entrepreneur myself and also working for larger companies like PayPal, where you really learn both how to grow as a really small business, but also, really what matters at scale and how you really try and get there and help your customers get there. And that's been really fun for me. My background has really lent well into Bill.com, which is really an amazing company. We are if you don't know us well, we offer a cloud-based software that really helps small businesses simplify, digitize, and automate all the back office financial operations activities that we all have to do, which are super time consuming, and it takes us away sometimes from spending our time growing the business, which is really why we get into businesses. We want to serve our customers and build great product and find new ways to grow. And sometimes you have to deal with that sticky back office stuff on the nights and weekends. And Bill.com is here to really automate all of that for small business owners and manage all the payments on behalf of them. So it's a really wonderful place to work, a really elegant software solution that we offer to our customers. And I've just been super happy working here for a long time.
Absolutely. And I do want to shout out two things. The founder of our chairman, CEO, as it were, of Bill.com is a dude who's madly focused and in love with small businesses. So I want to shout him out a bit. If you want to do a 1 line or 2 bio, I think it's interesting. His pedigree. Yeah. I know he was a business owner, or his family was. Can you just recap?
So Daniel Shirt's our founder, and this guy is amazing. So he comes from like a long history of entrepreneurs. His grandparents, his parents started so many businesses. So this awesome guy, he really grew up like we all grew up doing whatever we do at home. This guy grew up like around the dinner table with his grandparents and his parents, learning about all the great parts of running a business, but all the difficult parts of starting up businesses. And so he really founded this company, which is his second company he founded, to really try and automate a lot of those difficult paper-based manual processes that business owners have to do to pay bills, to invoice and get paid. But he really learned it from his parents and grandparents, and because he's just so intelligent and so software focused, has really built a powerful platform here. And it attracts a lot of people like me to come work with him. I myself worked with a group of folks 15 plus 20 years ago and founded a company, a software-based company. And I was a CFO of that business. So I know firsthand a lot of the challenges that CFOs and controllers of a business have to face as they're just trying to make sure that you optimize cash flow and keep growing, because there is not a safety net for small business owners like large companies have. So you really have to be cognizant of your cash flow, because that is the oxygen of your business.
Yes. I thought you were going to say that you were like selling popcorn in a stadium one day and he came by and said, "Hey, young man, come and work for Bill." I thought you were going to say like that's how he found you, but not quite, I guess.
Not quite. Popcorn, maybe call popcorn software. And that's pretty much how he found me.
I love it. And one more thing, I want to get to our tips on partnerships. I know people are waiting for and so important, but I do want to set the stage really because I think it's important. Again, so people who are not using Bill.com, checks or you're doing manual transactions, you're going to your bank, typing in ACH, correct if I'm wrong, but you're doing all these things manually, tracking it through some software. As I understand it, Bill.com, you can enter all this in, customers, vendors, and all this in some way, hit buttons, automate, and payments are done. If I said that about right, or you can restate it, but I just want people to understand what they're doing wrong and what's a better way to do it. Just recap that for me. That's
a great way to phrase it. So, we like to say our mission is to help businesses connect and do business.
Sure.
And what that means is, like, as a business owner, we all have customers, hopefully, and we all have vendors who we need to work with to be able to create our product or service and to keep the lights on. And so what Bill.com software does is it takes all these, what are typically like paper-based or manual processes to figure out, gosh, I got 20 different bills coming in from these vendors. Which ones do I need to pay and when? Who do I need to go to within my company to see if this is approved and why we actually spent that money, and do I need to pay that vendor today or 30 days out? So we can automate all of that process within our software. And then separately, as we're invoicing customers to be able to get paid, I have complete visibility now into a single dashboard, complete visibility into which bills are getting paid when by my customers, or who do I need to ping fast because they owe me money and I need that.
Hey, Ramon, it's overdue by a few months now, buddy. Come on now.
We've all got those phone calls before. But we operate a software platform that really automates that and keeps it into a single dashboard flow. And we manage the payments that go out to our vendor, to our customers' vendors, and also manage the payments that are coming in. So we actually process about 140 billion in payment volume right now, domestically. And I think one thing we've all learned through the pandemic, we've learned a lot. But one thing is, like, small businesses are way more global than people realize. We have vendors in different countries and we have customers in different countries, and we can manage the payments going out to vendors wherever they are, in most countries around the globe. And through one of our recent acquisitions, we can also enable an accounts receivable product for customers in different countries as well. So it's a pretty powerful platform.
I love it. And talking about acquisitions, that leads us to our kind of our core of our discussion today, Josh, about partnerships. You all are buying companies, investing in companies, or partnering otherwise because you need partners. So two key things, Josh, I want to unpack for people today, our audience as they're listening. And again, I'm Ramon Ray. We have Josh here, SVP of Partnerships at Bill.com. Those of you watching us right now live, put comments, put likes, put shares, heckle us, do whatever you want. And those who are watching it after the fact, thank you for watching as well. So two broad things, Josh, I'd love you to take the time to share with us about why partnerships are important. One, I know you're a sports enthusiast and you have some tips and insights about partnerships from that world. So we'll get into that in a minute. And then the other half of the equation, really some kind of a two-part process with how we can identify the right partners, because I'm guessing it's implied in what I want to ask you, all partners are not equal, or everybody should not be your partner. So let me hear your thoughts on that. Let's hear this kind of sports analogy. What are some things you've learned being an athlete, I'll say, or a sports enthusiast, as relate to partnerships? Josh, talk to us.
Yeah, I'm a poor athlete these days, so let's be clear about that. Getting old.
All right.
I think there's a lot to unpack there. But partnerships are, in many ways, like marriages. You have to be committed to each other, and you want to be complementary. And so a lot of what we look at when we're looking at forming deep partnerships, and for the most part, we work on forming like deep partnerships with companies that really share a vision, have a similar empathy for the customer segments that we're going after, but our capabilities might be a bit different and hopefully super complementary. And that is a really powerful thing that we look at when we look at the tenets of the partnerships that we work through. And it is a little bit like building a team, building a sports team. I've certainly been on way more teams than I can count at this point in my life, but you really know pretty early on, how to put a team together to maximize, what you can do. And it's not always like the most talented groups perform the best. It's the ones who are complementary and believe in a vision together that I typically think perform better over the long run. And the same thing goes for a partnership. But they are hard. And to borrow a line from one of my favorite sports movies, A League of Their Own, like if it wasn't hard, everyone would do it. It is the hard that makes it great. And so I think the partnerships that perform best are those that, you work through some hard challenges together because the payoff can be really significant. But you gotta stay after it. And that's kind of what makes it great.
I love that. And by the way, we do have questions coming in, so keep your questions coming in. I will save some time towards the end to ask Josh that. Thank you already. Philip, who asked us a great question, and I'll get to that, Josh, in a few minutes. One thing I want to follow up about the sports analogy, Josh, I was reading it again. You may know the book. I don't remember it, but there was a famous, well-known New York Times sports writer who wrote a book about teams or greatness, something like this. He profiled teams from Brazil, USA, across the world. And one thing he said was that, very interestingly, is that some of the best teams in the world, they didn't have the showboat player. They didn't have the player who was glitzy, and pardon my analogy, but I think you know where I'm going. But they had the team captain who may not have been the best athlete, but the team captain brought people together. Does anything I say there make sense and help about partnerships? If not, you can just say, Ramon, you're off base. But does that make sense what I'm trying to say?
It makes a lot of sense, Ramon, because I'm not the best athlete. So I've had to like lean on that my whole life pretty much. I think that's true. And I think a lot of it is true whether you're doing partnerships or whether you're hiring a team. And I think what's always true for me is that you are only as good as your team.
Yes.
Straight up. It does not matter how good you could be. We could look at any sport across the world and see this. Like, you are only as good as your team. And so really when I look at hiring a team or working with partners, I really look at, I want to work with people better than I am at every specific job. And that allows me to sort of stand behind them and make sure we get the strategy right with a partner or with our own internal team. And then we have much better chance of going after it. I see this today. Like, sorry for all the listeners out there who may not be a San Francisco Giants fan, but I am. I have been my whole life. And they are not a team built on superstars, but they are a team that has a common goal, knows what they do well. There's very little ego, at least externally, that you can see. And yeah, they have the best record in baseball. And that's not an easy thing to do across a 6-month season. You have to know what you're really good at and stick at it.
Absolutely. No, you're right. And I think that's the power of partnerships for sure. Let's dive into another part of this, Josh. I think that was very important. There's a two-part process. I know you have the Bill.com team about how we can identify who are potential partners for us. First, why don't we take our time a bit and go through kind of 4 tenets, I know 4 checklists you have as you're looking through partnerships. It could be, Josh, in your personal life, for your household, whatever, for Bill.com. I think these things are kind of transferable across different aspects of life and business, even for very small companies and bigger ones. Why don't we bullet point these key points you have, and then maybe pending time, we can recap each one of them. But why don't we start there at the top, and let's go through these. And what do they mean? Yeah,
that's great. And everyone has their own tenets, but these work for me and my team. Okay. And I think they work for Bill.com overall. And there's 4 that I look at closely. So one is, do you have a partner where you can be really transparent in your interactions? And I'll dig into what that means in a second. Because I think without transparency, it's hard to do the next thing, which is you have to have trust. If you're going to build a long-term relationship, you have to trust each other at all levels. And that, because you're inevitably, times are going to be good, times are going to be difficult. And if you don't have that foundation of trust, it is really hard to operate a sustainable partnership. The third one, which I could get into, is a partnership has to be mutually beneficial. In some ways, there has to be three components to it. But if it doesn't work for your partner and it's not working well for the end customer, it might be great for your financials, but that's fleeting. That's not going to be sustainable. And so we really want to make sure we have partners that are mutually where we have a mutually beneficial setup. And then the fourth, which is really important, and it can change a bit over time, but that is you need to have a shared vision. Who's your customer? Who is the end customer? Where do you want to go? Where is each company taking their business? You have to establish that North Star shared vision for a partnership if you also intend for that to be really successful over the long term. And so those are like those are the four key tenets that me and my team really look at closely, and you keep working it all the time. It's not like something that begins and ends when you sign a deal.
Absolutely. No, I love it. So let's recap these, Josh. I think let's look at shared vision. What I'm hearing you say is, for example, shared vision, taking any example, we're a company and we want to dominate Arizona. We want to dominate Arizona. I'm partnering with another company that says, you know what, really what's important to us? My son, by the way, lives in Hungary. So we're in the beautiful country of Hungary. Yes. And they're saying, we want to dominate Hungary. What I'm hearing you say, this is a silly example, but roll with me here. Yeah. If one partner's vision is, no, we want to dominate Arizona, we're going to pour all our money and resources into the desert, and they're talking about Hungary, that's not a shared vision. It's going to be hard. You're nice people, but it can be a bit hard to build together geographically if it's starting wrong. Silly example, but is that the kind of idea we're talking about here?
It is. I mean, I think, God, I'm actually luckily in an office today. I have a whiteboard right in front of me, which we all sort of live with, and I think a lot of that sort of comes down to whiteboarding, frankly, with a partner, and you really dialogue together on that board. Now it's virtually a lot nowadays, but I'll give you. I think your example is great. I'll give you one sort of recent one here.
Please.
So my team works with a lot of large financial institutions in the U.S. We're super lucky to do it because they are amazing conduits into our economy, and it's just wonderful. So, we were working with a big partner about trying to solve for the future for SMBs. Like, how do you make sure that SMBs have clear line of sight into all their cash flow, all sort of the credit capabilities that they could take advantage of, and like, should we invest alongside each other? What do we do well? But it really came down to, do we believe the same things about a small business? Do we believe? Do we have the same belief system around that? Do we think similarly, even though we have very different skills and capabilities? What can we deliver? And so we really worked hard at it, and we're like, okay, great. We need to be able to solve for the current and future liquidity needs of businesses. We are a really good software company, really good. Banks are great at a lot of things. Software is something that they're getting better at.
Sure.
But we are that's all we do. Like, that's our lifeblood. So we work really hard with the bank to leverage our software capabilities and their amazing ability to sell and market and provide credit and different types of financial products to their businesses that we can sort of plug into, where they can plug in different ways. But it all comes down to, what are you trying to solve for? And so we really wrote our shared vision down on a whiteboard, and we revisit that all the time to make sure we're still on track to that vision.
I love it. It's powerful. I want to dive into the other 3 points, but I'm going to upgrade Philip first right now. I'm going to upgrade him to a VIP first class seat. meaning I'm going to ask this question right now. So the bottom line, Josh, if you can see it, that's great. If you can't, I'll still read it either way. But he's asking about media agencies. Yeah. And basically, can they use Bill.com because there's traceability between there, as you may know, Josh, they're in the middle. So they have the suppliers who they may, I'm just reading into his question here, buy services, ad services from whatever on this side. Then they have the clients, could be like Bill.com, that they're serving on this side with the media agency in the middle. Is that the kind of perfect solution that Bill.com may be for, or is that not the best ideal for Bill? What would you say for that kind of scenario where there's bills going every which way? Help us understand.
It sounds perfect. Love to talk to him. But when you think about what he's trying to do, which is perfect, like he's got a lot of vendors, he's got a lot of customers, and we can act as that connective tissue in the middle, help him make sure he gets paid on time, make sure he's paying the bills he needs to when. And a lot of what we do is we really try and digitize the entire payment process as well. So what Philip might find when he joins Bill.com is, look, we have like 3.2 million we call network members now, who basically have signed up with Bill.com to get paid electronically quickly. And so when Philip actually plugs his business into Bill.com, he might actually find an interesting percentage of his vendors are already Bill.com network members, and he can pay them quickly, and or they might be customers, and he can bill them quickly. So it sounds like a pretty good use case. We would obviously need to make sure we dig in to help him, make sure we understand his needs and listen to him so we can help.
I love it. And I want to push this a bit further because I think we've talked in other discussions with the team, this aspect of automation, I think, can set entrepreneurs free. My feeling as one who started 4 small companies and sold 2 of them is that as business owners, automation, for us being able to focus, let me put it this way, Josh, on leading our teams, setting the vision, and doing the 1 or 2 strategic gifts that Josh has, that Ramon has, is what we want to do as leaders. Everything else we can outsource or delegate, be it to another company or to team members. Is that about right, Josh? So what I'm hearing about Philip, he doesn't want to be a billing center, I'm guessing. He wants to be a media company, which is the best at buying ads and et cetera for his clients. But the money, you guys are best at that. Those are my words, but am I echoing what I'm hearing?
I think that's right. I don't know Philip, but I'm guessing Philip is a lot like you and me, where he's like, I did not wake up starting a media company thinking I can't wait to pay my bills and to invoice my customers. I can't. Well, maybe the invoice part he's excited about, but I guarantee he probably did not wake up going, I can't wait till Friday night at 7 p.m. or Saturday morning to get online to make sure that I understand, who I need to get to approve bills. Like, I hope Philip wants to do other things with his free time. And so that's really what we do well. We can take all that pain away from Philip. And a lot of what we do with our partnerships is, look, we realize that customers have different ways that they want to, different trusted advisors that they utilize to make sure that they can, they can get the best of what they need. So we work with a lot of accounting firms and a lot of banks, and we basically avail our capabilities to and through them so that they can support their clients directly using our same software, because really we're targeting the same type of end customer. And so when we're looking at partnerships, it is thinking about Philip and going, okay, Philip might actually trust Ramon's accounting service to manage his books. And so, great, here you go, Philip, like your accounting firm's already set up, go grab it from them. We're really happy when that happens.
Love it. Love it. And we got about 7 more minutes in this live discussion here. Those who have questions, even if you're listening to this afterwards, feel free to post them. The Bill.com team and my team as well, and our partners in this are going to be actively watching through that. So feel free to post your comments in there. Now, we'll try to grab them before we end in about 7 minutes or so. But even after the fact, you're watching this video, you're like, dang, who are these 2 handsome guys in this Bill.com webinar? Ask a question. They're probably going to do that more to you, Bill. Josh, I'm curious.
Yeah, my dad's name is Bill. It's okay.
I'm curious, Josh, going back to our 4 pillars of kind of what it means to have a successful partnership. Josh, what happens if one of those pillars is not in effect with the partner? So let's say I meet a partner, and again, I think I know your answer, but let's just explore it here. Let's say they're trustworthy, they're transparent, shared vision, but Josh, I'm getting all the deal here. Josh is like, there's really nothing in it for me, but I'm a good guy. I'm trustworthy, shared vision. We have transparency. But every time me and Josh meet, he's like, there's nothing really here for me. Can we still partner? Or are you like, nah, y'all need to walk away? What do you say? If one leg is not there, my point is one leg.
It's a great point. And this happens quite frequently. And here's how I try and control for it. But I learned a lesson the hard way a while ago, which I guess helped me out a lot. And that is, you always need to know if your partner's happy. But how do you know that? Okay, so one thing that I learned early on is I was presenting to the CEO of a large fintech company where I worked previously, PayPal, and I was going through, hey, here's how we're doing with this partner. Here's how we're doing against our metrics, and here's the future roadmap. Blah, 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 all the things that you need to do, and it all looked fine from our perspective. And he just stops me, which he knew he was going to do, I'm sure, before we started. And he just said, "Hey, John, is the partner happy?" I was like, "Well, I think they're happy," which was a bad answer. And he said, "How do you know? How do you know if the partner's happy? Because I just talked to the CEO and they're not happy."
Ooh, Josh.
Yeah, right. So, but it was a good lesson, which we all need in life, right? And so, how do you solve for that? Because you need to be more proactive than when you know things, when you know you need to. And so what we do now is we set like mutually beneficial goals with our partners. So when we're having business reviews, we don't look at how we're doing or how the partner's doing. We actually have set with our biggest partners, here's what success looks like, here's the metrics, here's the roadmap, and we look at that together. And we're constantly pressure testing to see, hey, are those still the right goals? Are those still the right things that we need to consider? And it's never perfect, and it never will be, but you need to make sure that you know what success looks like for your partner, and importantly, for the end customer. Because at the end of the day, you and me could be successful in a partnership, but if our customer isn't happy with the experience, they're going to go somewhere else, because it's switching costs aren't what they used to be in this software world. So it is very important to make sure your metrics cover your the end customer, because without a focus on that, everything is fleeting.
Absolutely. And by we have some people trying, hey, Clipperton, thanks for joining. Sometimes you get what you want. The other times you have a learning experience. You're right. Karen, hey, Karen, thanks for being here. Communication is important. We got about 3 more minutes left, Josh. And before I close, just one other thing to underline what you said. I think it was very important. What I'm hearing, again, correct me if I'm wrong, the partnership doesn't have to start out perfectly all the time. It's not going to be perfect. But if you're communicating in an ideal scenario, it's only going to get better and better and more clear if you focus on those 4 tenets. Maybe, okay, I didn't know Josh liked dark blue. I thought it was light blue. Okay, that's okay. Me and Josh can get it together. But is that kind of in a fun way what I'm hearing, that it can, if you're communicating, you're going to keep marching together in commonality. Is that fair?
I think so. And, transparency is really, really key. And you want to be, this sort of term gets used a lot, but you want to be radically candid with each other, just like if you and I were in the same company. And you inherently know if things aren't feeling great quickly. And I have another example of a partner where we did an agreement. We started working on the research and design for the experience that we were going to build for this specific customer. And we realized through this initial research phase that what we had intended to build and what we had sold, it wasn't going to hit the mark completely for the end customer. And so we had to have a very difficult, at the time felt like a very difficult conversation with the partner. Like, hey, look, we've done this research. We're now into the design phase, but we need to make sure that what we're building for this customer is going to give us the best chance to be successful. And so it may cost a little bit more. It may take a little bit more time, but this, if you believe what I'm saying, it will pay off in the long run. And, will you basically hold hands and get this done together? And it was challenging, but I think that's actually where you build the trust, is having those difficult discussions. And that can work at any level for, whether it's, my business of a long time ago where you're starting up, or now. I think the tenets hold true, and you just need to plug it into whatever scenario you're managing through. I always think of the 5 to 10 year plan. I'm never, not that I'm never you need to deliver every day and every minute, but I'm always thinking through, okay, how's this going to play out over the next 5 to 10 years, because that's the type of partnership that we want to have. And so it's important to manage those tenants, because that's the lifespan of what you're thinking about at all times.
No, for sure. Josh, listen, this is powerful, powerful, powerful. I tried to be more on time than the airlines. We are at the end of our amazing discussion today, Josh. And a few things before we close out today. Listen, we hope we've delivered value to you to help you understand a few key things. In 30 minutes, we can't do the whole seminar, but a few key things with how you, as a small and medium-sized business, can build better partnerships for yourself. We also, representing Bill.com, me and Josh and the team, we want to earn, and we hope you've earned the right for you to at least consider and check out Bill.com to partner with you to help you with your automation of your whole financial infrastructure. We have a cool little landing page. You can just go to Bill.com, but even better, listen carefully. Go to Bill.com/small-business, Bill.com/small-business, and there we have some customized solutions and things that you can really find out for you. Karen, thank you. Clipperton, thank you. Philip, thank you. And many others who joined. Hit the share button if you want. Comment. Tag me so we can see you're watching. But on behalf of Bill.com, we are awesomely grateful. And thank you to you, Josh, for joining us today. My name is Ramon Ray. And once again, thanks for joining us on this webinar all about how businesses can leverage and get better partnerships. Have a beautiful day, and thank you.